What is up, guys? My name is Lex. Welcome back to the vlog. The last time we spoke, I showed you guys the biggest win of my entire life, profiting $15,000 in a single poker session, just running like God. That was about 10 days ago, and since then, the upswing in Texas has continued. I have been running so good this month. I'm up $33,000 so far in the month of February, just unheard of. The biggest upswing of my entire life. The only bad thing about this is that the inevitable downswing is coming in. Every single time you go up, you're gonna have to go down at some point. So I'm kind of worried that either today or a week from now or a month from now, I'm just gonna start running bad and getting coolers and losing a ton of money. But I'm gonna try to think positive, try to play my best, trying to get on tilt, and we'll see how the cards fall today. But let's get down to the table, let's get to the action, let's go. We sit down at a 2-5 game here at Texas Card House on a Thursday night and look down at Ace Jack of clubs. I make it $15 under the gun. I get 3 callers, so 4 ways to our first flop, which is not too great for us. 4, 5, 7, 1 club. We completely miss. The small blind now leads into me for $20. The big blind folds, and I think I should just be letting go of my hand right here, but it's such a small bet compared to the size of the pot. I'm most likely going to be live with my overcards, and if I hit a club on the turn, I can pick up the nut flush draw, so I make the call, and the button makes the call as well. Turn queen of hearts, bringing in that front door flush draw. The small blind now checks. I would be bluffing here if we were heads up, but with the button player over calling, I am not going to be doing so. I check and the action checks all the way around. The river pairs the 7, the small blind leads out, and we fold. An interesting second hand develops here where there's a limp for $5, the hijack raises to $15, the button min raises to $30 with around $1,100 left in his stack. I have king queen offsuit in the big blind, a pretty interesting spot whether to fold here, to call, or to put in the 4-bet. A $15 raise over a limp and then a min raise to $30 just doesn't seem too strong, so I decide to put in the cold 4-bet. In the big blind, I raise it up here to $125. Ideally, the best case scenario here is that both of my opponents fold and we take down this money pre-flop. The hijack lets go of his hand, but the button tags along with a call, so we're heads up at a position to a flop of 8 deuce deuce 2 hearts. We completely miss on this board, but I am going to have the range advantage, meaning that I'm going to have the stronger hands on this board like pocket aces and kings, and the button player will most likely not have those hands. So I start with a bet of $125, looking to continue on most turns and rivers, but it does not come to that. He lets go of his cards. We take down our first pot of the night. Next up, we peel back ace king of spades. There's a $15 straddle under the gun. The same player from last hand raises to $30. I 3-bet him again to $110. We want to be building the pot with such a great premium hand. It folds back over to the initial raiser who makes a call. Heads up in a 3-bet pot. The board comes out 4, 5, 6, 2 spades, flopping the nut flush draw, and 2 overcards. A great board for us. He checks over to me, and I put out a bet of $75. He is going to have some over pairs on this board like 9s, 10s, and jacks that are not going to want to fold, but we have so much equity against those hands, I don't mind a bet here. We end up taking this one down with just some aggression. We haven't made a pair yet to start the day, but we've just been using some aggression to take down some small pots. After looking around at the other 2-5 tables, I would say that my table has one of the best lineups, a ton of recreational players and only one other pro, but unfortunately everyone's sitting around $800 to $1,000 deep, and I like to play super deep stack here in Texas, so I put my name on the 5, 10, 20 game, which should start here in about an hour. While we are waiting for the big game to start, we play a big pot with pocket aces, the best hand you can ever get pre-flop and no limit hold'em. There's a straddle, a call for $10. I raised to $40 before the small blind puts in a re-raise. He bumps it up to $110. We are definitely going to be putting in a 4-bet. My image at the table so far seems to be pretty loose. I've already 3-bet 3 times and 4-bet 1 other time, and no one's seen my cards, so it may look like I'm trying to push the table around, which is exactly what you want it to look like when you're holding pocket aces. I re-raise here. I put in the 4-bet to $325.
Come on. All in. All in and call.
Kind of sucked out.
Nice hand. I didn't like the river. The small blind 5-bet jams all in for $1,100. We make the snap call with pocket aces, and he has pocket kings, and unfortunately he hits a king on the river to scoop down a little over a $2,000 pot. This is exactly what I was worried about talking in the intro. You have no idea in poker when things are going to turn around. You're going to start running bad. Hopefully this is not a start to a huge downswing. Right after this hand, they end up calling the 5, 10, 20 game, so I rack up my chips and head over to the table. We start out short-handed. I buy in for a little over $5,000. The table starts out slow, only playing 5-handed, but then a very well-known fun action player sits down and goes all in blind his very first hand.
It's only 500, man. Come on, let's fucking gamble.
I played with this guy a few times in the past, and he is super fun to play with, and I can already tell tonight he is ready to have some fun, so this game is about to get wild.
80.
I call it blind.
80, call.
You might change full.
Yes, I got you beat this time.
Well, it doesn't matter. You might have it beat now, but I've heard that a lot.
I make it $80 with King Jack offsuit, and the action player in seat number 3 makes a call. We flop nothing on a queen high board, and I check over to him, and he checks this one back. The turn is an ace of clubs.
Hold on.
If I bet, are you gonna fold?
Well, you didn't anyway. See, I mean, I know you got one club, probably the king club, by pocket kings. However,
No. I don't have pocket kings. I would have bet that on the flop.
no, you wouldn't have. Not with me in the hand, because you're like, oh, this
I
motherfucker's
could
crazy.
try to go all
Yeah.
Wait for you to bet, yeah.
All right, so, because I like you, I know I'm going to hit on the river, but I'm going to lay it down. Eric, go ahead and show the rivers a 10 of diamonds.
Oh. Bad fold, bad fold.
Over the next 30 minutes to an hour, the action player in seat number 3 is basically all in every single hand. It is just insane to watch.
Come on. 10, 10, 10, Eric. How much, Eric? What's the total?
All right.
This is how we do it. I call. Let's go. Yeah. That's it? That's it? No, you good. I don't have pocket aces.
Ah, no way!
You're fucking kidding me.
No way!
All right, I'll get some of it. Okay, man. I'm fucking dead. That's it? You slow on me?
After rebuying maybe 6 or 7 times, seat number 3 is finally done and heads home, and of course, we pick up pocket kings. What great timing. We folded for a whole hour while he was going crazy, and we finally pick up a playable hand, and he's gone. I make it $75 on the button, and only the small blind it makes the call. The board is 6, 7, 8, 2 hearts, probably one of the worst boards to see. Given the fact that he called in the small blind, I think he's going to have a lot of pocket pairs and middling cards. So when he checks to me, I pot control and check this one back. The turn is a 3 of hearts, now bringing 3 hearts on the board. I do have the king of hearts, so I do pick up the king high flush draw. Small blind bets 1 black chip, and I'm not going to fold. I don't think raising is good, so I make the call. The river is a deuce, a total brick, and he decides to check over to me. When the small blind checks this river, I think he's going to have a lot of bluffs that he gave up on, or 1 pair hands. I don't think he's ever checking here with 2 pairs, set, or flush, so I feel pretty comfortable going for value on the river. I make it $400, trying to get called by any 1 pair hand, but he lets his cards go. We take down the pot. The table's short-handed and looks like it's going to break, but then seat number 3 makes his return. The game is still on. The action player in seat number 3 makes it $200 blind under the gun. There's 1 call in the small blind. I make the call with queen jack of clubs, and we see the flop 3 ways of ace, 8, deuce, 1 club. The action checks all the way around. The turn is a 3, small blind checks. I check, and now seat number 3 puts out a bet of $150. Small blind folds, and with queen high here, I feel like I could have the best hand here a good bit of the time. So I make the call, and we see the jack of hearts on the river. I check and he checks back. We show the jack and we are good. Next up, it folds to me on the button and I peel back ace king offsuit. I make it 3x, $60. Small blind folds and the big blind wants to play for more, so he bumps it up to $280. Under the gun straddler gets out of the way, and now the action's back on me. Sometimes I would be flatting ace-king on the button versus a tight player. However, this player in the big blind seems like someone who could be getting slightly out of line. He could be 3-betting a little bit wider given the fact that I opened on the button. With all that information, I think a 4-bet is good here. I want to put pressure on all of his pocket pairs like 10s, jacks, and queens, and also get value from his weaker ace-high and king-high hands. So I bump it up here to $650 and then realize that I accidentally made it $750. I hardly ever misclick when it comes to live poker. However, when I'm filming for a vlog, a lot of things are going through my head like, is my camera on? Is the viewpoint good? Are my chips in the way? Are the cards blocking anything? Are the guy's hands next to me in the way? All these things are going through my head when I'm filming a vlog, so sometimes it can lead to me being a little distracted and possibly misclicking $100 more. The big blind is in the tank now for a while. For a little over a minute, he is counting out his chips, seeing how much he has. He started the hand with a little over $3,500 from what it looked like to me, so if he jams all in here, I'm going to be pretty sick to my stomach, but I think I'm going to have to make the call. But ultimately, he decides to let this one go. We take it down with ace high. The action player in seat number 3 is still going strong, rebuying basically every single time he gets stacked, but unfortunately we are just super card dead. For over an hour, I am just folding all sorts of trash hands. It's around midnight and seat number 3 loses another hand and finally waves the white flag. He's done for the night, and unfortunately we weren't able to play any big pots with him, but the good news is that he basically pumped the entire table with a ton of money, so now everyone is sitting super deep stacked. Moving on here, we're in the small blind. The button raises to $50. I have ace king of hearts. I re-raise here to $200. The big blind folds, and now the under the gun straddler, who just doubled up through seat number 3 before he left, puts in a 4-bet. He re-raises me to $750. The button gets away. Now the action is back over on us. My opponent started the hand with a little over $4,000, which is about 200 big blinds, so I could 5-bet jam all in. However, this player just doubled up. I don't think he's going to be bluffing very often in this spot. I think he's going to have a lot of kings, aces, and ace king here. I actually think he might just flat pocket queens pre-flop. Against his potential 4-bet range of aces, kings, and ace king, we're really not doing too good. However, ace king suited is just way too strong to not see a flop with, so I decide to make the call. So we're going heads up, out of position to a 4-bet pot. The board comes out queen, 3, deuce, 2 hearts. We flop the nut flush draw. Do you guys ever see a flop in poker and immediately your heart rate spikes? Well, that is mine right now. I flopped the nut flush draw and 2 overcards at a 4-bet pot, and my opponent continues for $800 with about $2,500 left in his stack. When under the gun bets his sizing, I think he's always going to have aces and kings, but against pocket kings, we're actually 50-50 here, and against pocket aces, we have about 37% equity. I don't really want to call this bet and have a heart come and have him maybe fold. I want to see all 5 cards here, so I think for a little bit of time and decide to rip it all in. I go all in for around $5,000. I was expecting under the gun to make the snap call, so when he goes into the tank, I think it's possible he has pocket jacks here, and maybe we can get him to fold, or maybe he has ace king as well, and we can get him off a chop. He thinks for a while, a little over 30 seconds, but eventually decides to put in the call. So over $8,000 are in the middle now. We're going to run the board out twice. I highly doubt we are ahead here, so we're going to need some help. We're going to need to see a heart on the turn or the river.
I have a flush. And a flush.
Wow.
Ace king heart.
Unbelievable.
Sick. Just like we expected pre-flop, my opponent was extremely strong. He had pocket aces, a pretty big cooler, ace king suited versus pocket aces. We flop the nut flush draw. We get it all in with about 37% equity, and we hit the flush 2 times to make the nuts on both runouts to win over an $8,000 pot. It's around 1 a.m. now. The table is shorthanded and decides to break, so it looks like we're going to be booking another win here in Texas. We end up racking up our chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out for the night. Wow. Holy shit. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. We're going to do this outro a little different, okay? This hat messing up the lighting here. A little different of an outro today, you know, not so cut and dry and perfect. Sometimes I do these outros and it takes like an hour to do them because I keep messing up and I have to do them over and over again to try to say the right words. And you know, it's like a see, I'm even messing up right now. It's like a movie, basically, where I want to say my lines correctly, but sometimes you mess up, you know, so you have to say them over and over and over and over again. But this time, we're just gonna kind of go off the rip. Hell of a session, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I've been running so good lately, it's just crazy. Like, I just, you can't even put it into words. Like, so I sat down, I get aces versus kings, which is a magical spot, but then he hits a king on the river, but it was only $1,000, which isn't that much. We started the 5, 10, 20. Crazy action player at the table. He lost, you know, 10 racks or more. Unfortunately, I did not get any of it, but it was pretty entertaining to watch. And then the last hand of the night, ace king versus aces, 4-bet pot. Super big cooler there, ace king suited versus aces. We flop the nut flush draw, I jam all in, and he kind of like nit rolls me a little bit with a call. He doesn't call right away, which I'm somewhat surprised about. But we end up just binking the flush on both runouts. So insane run, guys, like insane. Ended up profiting $3,300 tonight, which is just crazy. So now we're up almost $37,000 this month, and we still have like 10 days left. So I guess it could just keep getting better and better. Maybe, I mean, why stop at 38,000, 37,000? Why not get to 40? Maybe 50,000 in a month, why not? It's crazy. These games are great. Texas Card House is an amazing place, and I'm running like God, as you guys can see. $15,000 win last week, a bunch of big wins last week, and then now tonight, $3,300 win. Pretty insane. But there is one thing I do want to kind of discuss. I figured that vlogging and driving probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. One thing that I always kind of get asked is, what state is better to play poker in, Texas or Florida? And I have a ton of hours at both places. More in Florida, but I've been playing a lot here in Texas in the last 4 or 5 months. It's me. It's me. Hi. Hey. Yeah, good boy. Yeah. You sleepy boy. All right, so let's go over this. Texas or Florida, what state is better to play poker in? I'm gonna break it down like this. So I think, from my time in each state, that Florida has weaker passive players with less money, and Texas has stronger, more aggressive players with more money. So I think the games are slightly tougher in Texas, with tougher players. They're gonna put you in tougher spots, but there's way more money on the table here in Texas. In Florida, people are very passive, very call happy. They don't like to raise, they limp a lot. They only 3-bet aces and kings most likely. But those kind of players play with a lot less money. So let's say you're playing a 2-5 in Florida, stacks may range from 300 to 1,000, something like that, and that's basically the range of what people are buying in for, some of the weaker players. Here in Texas, the stacks range from $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000. So you can win some massive pots in Texas if you can catch some of the weaker, fishier players. And of course, in Florida, if you're only 500 effective with the weaker player, you can't win as big of a pot. So there's definitely some big differences. To be honest, I think it's tougher to play in Texas. The players are tougher. They're gonna be putting you in tougher spots. They're floating you with hands they wanna try to bluff you with. They're super deep, so they can put a lot of pressure on you. You guys have seen that in my past vlogs where I've been put in some really tough spots in Texas. But Florida is obviously a great place to play as well. Loose, weak passive players are definitely the kind of players you want to be playing against. So to wrap it up, to maybe make a conclusion here, Florida has, I would say, weaker passive, more call happy players, but with less money. Texas has slightly better players, more aggressive players, people that are going to put you in tough spots, and they have more money. So, you know, you kind of pick your poison, and that's my thoughts on that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This upswing has just been incredible. Like, I mean, this is what makes poker so fun. This is what makes poker so easy. I mean, looking back like 2 or 3 months ago when I was losing every single day, I lost like 13,000 here at Texas Card House in October, to now be up like 37,000 in a month is just magical. And I just have to ride the highs and be ready for the lows, because I know it's coming. I know eventually I'm not gonna be running great, and I have to be ready for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Comment down below if you have any questions, comments on any hands. I'll try to get back to you guys in the comments below. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. 1 to 2 poker videos just like this coming out every single week. All right, that is it for this one. Until next time, I'll see you.